Well, given all of those numbers and what you experience day to day, it may not come as a surprise that Sacramento is now one of the most violent cities for its size in California, surpassed only by Oakland in the category of serious violent crime.
Well, tonight, News 10's Dave Marquis takes a look at the state of crime in the city of Sacramento and what many still see as a success story for now. Dave.
Well, Dale and Christina, in spite of that ranking, there is good news, even as the city struggles with a collapsing budget. But there are also danger signs, and experts warn that ignoring them could touch off a new era of higher and more violent crime. The scenes are powerful, frightening to neighborhoods, gripping to watch on the evening news. But the reality is crime has fallen dramatically in the United States for over 15 years, reaching a level not seen in 4 decades. Experts say the reasons are many.
We put more cops into the street. We certainly incarcerated more people.
Well, they had pop cops, which is neighborhood cops, come in here, and they did real good.
Social programs have reached out to at-risk children and families.
When you start looking at crime prevention, prenatal care is huge.
He knows some of the canines that have come to his school, so he knows some of the dogs and he waves.
Between 2008 and 2009, crime overall dropped 7.4% in Sacramento, even in the middle of the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression. In the last 4 months of 2010, crime is down another 7.5% from the same months a year ago.
The kids can play in the front yard, things that they couldn't do before.
On 7th Avenue in Oak Park, neighbors credit problem-oriented police teams with tackling the toughest crime.
It made a big difference, because you couldn't even drive down some of these streets. There would be gangs all up, with everything.
Officers on the beat, they say, have changed.
Police they're friendlier, so you approach them without being scared.
It is, in some ways, a return to a time before.
You know somebody to call, there's somebody that you can go to, and this is original concept of policing.
Sacramento Police Chief Rick Brazil says it's about making the community a partner.
Because if the community is satisfied with you and they work with you, you can get so much more accomplished than if you're fighting with the community.
What really works is not the flashy stuff, but the personal contact, the trust between the people.
But an ominous change may be coming.
Now we're starting to see the front end, the leading edge of the storm.
Budget cuts are decimating the social safety net for communities, pushing former gang members out of prison early with little or no supervision.
So you've got an inmate coming out early into a system where there's no jobs, and they've got no support system because the support services have all gone away.
Violent crime is already spiking, a 10% increase in Sacramento in the first 4 months of this year, even as the police department is 40% below the number of officers it needs.
We're just at the tipping point. We can't go any lower than we are.
When aggressive enforcement moved to another area, people on 7th Avenue noticed.
After they cleared out some of the crime, they've gone away. And we kind of need, neighborhood cops around.
As what he calls a perfect storm keeps building, Chief Brazil is shifting more resources to the streets and finding new ways to speed response time to handle the most violent crimes, hoping for now it'll be enough.
We've been making progress, and we're determined to continue to make progress.
Those on 7th Avenue hope he'll have what he needs.
Even the kids know him. If they frequent the same neighborhood, you get to know the same cops, and that makes a whole world of difference.
Now, trying to keep enough officers on the street comes at a cost, including far lower investigations for certain crimes, including burglary. One example is that burglaries are being investigated at only 12 to 14% of what they once were. Now, as you may have, you also may have to wait a lot longer for an officer to come by if it is not an extreme emergency. That's just part of the price for trying to hold the line on what could happen out there on the streets if we don't have enough officers.
That's sad because there has been so much progress made. Yeah. And it may backslide now.
Yeah, it's a dicey time, and they're watching those statistics now very closely.
It's probably going to be this way for a while. I doubt that, in 2 years from now, that they're going to have that 40% increase in officers that they need.
No question.
Yeah. All right, Dave.
Thank you, Dave.